So here we are, and we're enjoy uh, during the holiday season. It's a mixed bag, isn't it? Yeah. I want to speak about today is resistance or defense against joy. Yeah, all of the ways that it is so difficult for us to access joy, both outwardly and inwardly in meditation. Yeah. I've always appreciated in Buddhism that they have a great respect, while it's deeply optimistic, you know, in terms of what's possible, it also deeply honors the strength of our conditioning, what's already been conditioned on so many levels. Yeah. So we show up to the practice already chock full of conditioning of all kinds, and so much of it, it's for survival needs, for there's some really basic reasons for it. There's evolutionary wiring in there. There's societal wiring in there, and there's the personal psychodynamics of our upbringing wired in there. And some of it is very useful and important, and some of it really militates against our getting in touch with more joy. Yeah, I mean, first of all, outwardly, the negativity bias is something that runs very strong, and it's very universal. Part of this, of course, is going easy on ourselves for why it takes so long for these practices to develop, But the negativity bias is very strong. There is a natural tendency to look for what's not right, for the thing that's not quite right, the thing that hasn't been done, isn't done well enough, the self-judgment that runs through all of that, the perfectionistic tendencies that run through all of that. The tendency to not look at the 98 things that might be going well, but the two things at the end of the day when we review that haven't gone well, and that's very, very strongly predominant and running through our psyches. That tendency to look for the other shoe that might drop, even if it hasn't dropped. Yeah, the tendency to look for what isn't right, and to spend more time emphasizing what isn't right out there or in here. Yeah. It keeps us from getting in touch with joy. Yeah. Another is that the underpinnings, I believe, the underpinnings of our spirituality for most of us. I mean, I grew up in a Christian tradition, and maybe a bit stronger this in Catholicism, but there was a real emphasis on not feeling too good, actually, on somehow conflating feeling good with narcissistic preoccupation, as if those two things are at odds with each other. Yeah, that we shouldn't feel too good. I remember working with a man who grew up with a strong Catholic upbringing, and I was teaching him the holding environment. We worked together for a long time, and he got to a point where within a few minutes, for the first time, he was able to access a kind of some joy. He started to feel good and realize that it was possible to feel good in this meditation practice. And he had this insight. He came in one day and he said, wow, he said, I just realized I was told early on that I wasn't supposed to feel that good, and that if I felt too good, I would be going to hell, or that I would go blind. Now, what he was referring to, of course, specifically, some of you may know this, is little boys were taught that if you masturbated, you'd go blind or go to hell. and going blind. And what a message to send, right? That too much pleasure is really not okay. Really not okay. I noticed it in a simpler way when I was I stayed at a Trappist monastery for several months, and even during meal times. So I was struck by this. There would be somebody reading scripture while we were eating, because you shouldn't be tasting your food too much. You should be thinking about God or thinking spiritual thoughts. Anything around the body and pleasure was considered to be anti-spiritual. You know, it might really take you down a carnal stream, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah? For some of us, that's it. You know, our spiritual underpinnings are in there. The messages are not necessarily explicit, but some of them are implicit, you know, around just not feeling too good, not too good. And then inwardly, there are just all kinds of reasons why it's hard for us to access joy. We're speedy. We're so restless. We can't settle. It's so hard for us. You've heard me talk about the diagnosis that we all share, which is the arrested development of self-soothing. You know, we haven't really learned, or we stopped learning, how to really comfort ourselves. I mean, really, really relax, really be at ease, except for very, very short moments. Now, we want to make much of those moments, as Susan will say, make much of those. But they're pretty infrequent, you know, and very unstable when they arise in meditation practice, right? There's always something, and we're much more attached to our thinking. I know I can feel more pleasure if I fantasize about something, if I plan something nicely in my meditation, rather than just settle in with myself, settle in, you know? There isn't a lot of faith either that really settling could lead to anything good, do you know? No? So there are so many angles on this. And in a strange way, that is also very poignant to see for me. I think for some of you, maybe most of you, is that we get strangely attached to some of the patterns that we have already know for sure don't feel so good. There's that expression in psychology, repetition compulsion. The things that we obsess about. I know obsessing about this, I know it. Even when I start to notice it, this doesn't feel good at all. It's hard for me to put it down. It's hard for me to put it down. It's hard for me to stop that momentum. When irritation or anger comes up, it grinds and grinds and grinds, and it reminds me of something else, reminds me of something else, reminds me of something else. We haven't learned. Even when we see it, for sure, I know this doesn't feel good, doesn't mean I can stop it yet. There's so much momentum, really, simply because I've been reinforcing this my whole life. There are patterns that I've been reinforcing my whole life, and now I want them to stop on a dime, Yeah, it doesn't quite work that way. That's why these practices are gradual, why they're humbling, why there's a need for so much compassion and lightness and self-compassion, inner compassion, because it's a gradual path. We want to get there quickly. We want to get there quickly, more quickly. Yeah? Yeah. And it just doesn't work that way, Yeah? We're not even interested in the breath. It takes us so long to just get interested in something that we're not already interested in. We take refuge in our thinking. We'd rather think. We'd rather think. Right? We're familiar with that. I recognize that. I recognize myself when I think. I recognize myself even when I think obsessive thoughts. Oh, yeah, there I go again. I'm still strangely attached to that, to those patterns. And it takes a while. And this is universal. That's why we can get lonely with this and say, oh boy, I'm really a mess. No, we all do that. We all do that. And yet, here we are, still staying with it, gradually, gradually, gradually. And the main thing is making much of the little breakthroughs, the little moments of joy. I'll say, half a breath at a time. Ah, sometimes it's on the exhale. That's when I notice it, to really, yeah, that feels good. Is that joy? Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. It's the beginning. It's, I may not be able to keep it on the next in breath because now I want to hold on to it, or now, something else comes in and disrupts that, right? But we want to make much of the little moments, of ease when it's actually, oh. Do I want more of that? Yes, I want more of that. It's okay to want more of that. The Buddha said it's okay to want more of that. Absolutely. Don't worry about attachment. It's better to be attached to this, to this kind of practice and to the feeling that comes from this kind of practice than to a lot of the things that we've been attached to that are no longer so useful. Yeah. So yes, we want to make much of it, and we want to see if we can keep it around. Absolutely. 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 We want to invite that. That's what we're inviting in setline and in the internal holding environment. We're learning how to feel better, how to feel more refreshed, how to invite that, how to allow ourselves to give ourselves that, to receive it, And it sounds so simple, and it's a journey. It's a journey to joy, And it shows up in little moments, little moments, little moments. And slowly it builds, slowly becomes a bit more accessible, slowly but surely. Yeah? So there's hope there. It's just that we have to recalibrate. Often I will suggest we need to recalibrate in the same way we would if we were playing an instrument. We know with an instrument, we're not just going to go from here to there as quickly as we'd like. It's a whole mind-body process over time, gradually, gradually, gradually. So it is with the practice. Yeah, it will change. It will deepen. It has deepened. Yeah, yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for your attention. Yeah. Yeah. So let's open up. Let's open up a little bit. And when you're ready, slowing it down, lightly closing the eyes, maybe a little rocking or swaying. And maybe expanding the breath a little bit more and letting go just a little bit more on the exhale. The breath is already moving all on its own. It's already moving. And just noticing that the breath is already moving. And that might bring right there a gratitude and appreciation. This breath is already moving. In this breath of life. Softening, softening and allowing. And bringing a certain tenderness to your meditation practice, to the breath, and to whatever else arises there. In the last few minutes, settling back, settling back.